I have a confession to make. I hated deadlifts for a very long time. Some of you may have actually gasped at hearing that, considering how much I love and how much I share about deadlifts now, but it is true. I was scared to do them with a barbell, let alone go heavy with them, because I was just so scared of getting hurt and doing them wrong. That's what I hear from clients all the time. They're like, well, I don't want to go heavier because I don't want to get hurt. I promise you that you are way more likely to get hurt outside the gym than you are inside the gym. But at the time, I just didn't know how many different variations there were, and some that were just more enjoyable or felt better on my body than others. If we're being honest, there are tons of variations out there, and there are tons of ways to deadlift. So don't get caught into one version and saying that this is the best version, because maybe it's the best version for Sally, but maybe it's not the best version for Tara. I have been an athlete almost all of my life. Honestly, I ran track in high school and college. We did do deadlifts growing up, but I don't think I knew how to do them. And then when I was doing a lot of HIIT, we didn't do a lot of barbell deadlifts in there. And so it wasn't until 2017, 18 that I decided to get into barbell training. Right around that time, I got into Olympic weightlifting as well. I didn't actually do much with that certification because I'm not a huge Olympic weightlifting kind of coach, but I do have that certification. And then I just studied movement patterns. I researched and then researched some more and then watched other coaches teach other people, because that's really how you learn, is from other coaches and other experience with in-person clients. And what I really realized in this process was how many people needed to be educated on the foundational level to feel more comfortable with a barbell. And that deadlifts are incredible for strength training, and it is the most utilized exercise. They really call it the king of exercise, but I'm going to call it the queen because who rule the world? Girls. But before learning about the fundamentals of deadlift, I have been telling myself that I couldn't do them because of injuries, shoulder impingement, constantly tight hips. Those were all excuses. And so I hope you are here to say goodbye to those excuses and pick up that barbell once and for all. So today I am going to break down 4 different variations of deadlifts and break down why this specific compound movement is so good for your overall health and for your strength training base. And I've also included a totally free PDF deadlift guide that includes video and text walkthrough of how to do all of these. So listen to this episode, make sure you download the freebies in the show notes, and you can go along and try out all of these on your own at the gym this weekend. This is the resource I wish I had prior to 2017 when I was getting into deadlifts and when I had all the excuses in the book saying, they're bad for you and you're going to get injured and you shouldn't be doing them, because you absolutely should be doing some sort of variation of a deadlift in every single program you do. Yes, you heard it here first. Every single program you do. Okay, so here, let's start with why everyone should be deadlifting. Number 1, and this is probably the epitome of the Tara Talk and my new brand and app coming out soon, you'll feel like a badass. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm not really joking. Learning how to lift heavy shit can be so cool and so fun, and it can give you the confidence in all other aspects of your life. Because if you can walk up to the bar and deadlift, what else can't you do? Okay, number 2, it is such a great compound movement to engage and grow multiple muscle groups. Now, this is so important because compound exercises, if you remember from a past podcast episode, is where we are using multiple joint and multiple muscles in each exercise. These compound lifts can be deadlifts, bench press, squat, overhead press, rowing. Those are all exercises that give you the most bang for your buck. So deadlifts is obviously going to work your lower body, but it also works your core and your lats and your forearms and your grip strength. There's so much happening. Number 3, developing solid deadlifting form is applicable to so many other daily life activities and other activities like sports as well. From hinging at your hips to bracing your core, learning to deadlift really keeps you from dumping into your back whenever you lift and lower heavy weight in regular life, aka your kids or your dog or your Amazon package, or if you're moving or your luggage, putting it up overhead, you've got to pick it up first. So that's why a deadlift is so versatile in your daily life. And number 4, speaking of versatile, they are super easy to modify. You can have so many variations. There's also machinery. Almost every gym is going to have some sort of barbell plates, or at the very least, dumbbells, kettlebells, and these are really great modifiers for doing a very traditional deadlift. Now, today I'm going to really just walk you through a barbell deadlift, and there are the four variations I'm going to walk through. The question I get asked all the time, can I do a dumbbell or a kettlebell deadlift? Yeah, absolutely. Those are great. Typically, when you're using a dumbbell or dumbbells, you're doing a Romanian deadlift, which we'll get to in a second. And with a kettlebell, you can have it between your feet, and that can be just a traditional, conventional deadlift. But the cool thing about barbells is that you can typically lift a ton more weights with a barbell than you can with kettlebells or dumbbells. So this gives you the opportunity to really challenge your strength and power and explosiveness with a bar rather than a dumbbell or kettlebell. And a lot of times, if you are used to, lifting with dumbbells or kettlebells and you've been doing it for a while, you kind of can push out of that dumbbell kettlebell range and get into the barbells and see some really cool results there. So even if I have clients coming in and they only have like a dumbbell setup or they only have a couple kettlebells, that's a really great start, but I promise you'll get stronger than you think pretty quickly. Okay, so before we dive into these 4 variations, there's just a few things to consider when you deadlift. And remember, all of this is in the free PDF that is in the show notes. You just have to click the link below. You can follow along with me, and I am super excited to see you deadlift the day away. Grip strength is so important for this movement because while you're generating strength and power from your lower body and core, it's actually that your grip that's literally holding on to everything. In the freebie PDF, I share different exercises to improve your grip strength. You can also use things like chalk, a reverse grip. You can use wrist straps, but grip is a really important piece that holds your whole deadlift together, for lack of a better term. Now, improving your grip strength is crucial to progressing with your deadlifts and something you can begin working on literally right now. And it will help you feel confident and comfortable underneath the bar. Also for any hanging exercises, like a dead hang, which I add a lot in clients programming, a knee tuck or a leg raise, hanging from a bar, a pull up, and just carrying heavy objects in daily life. Like if you're anything like myself, when my husband's not around and I have to bring all the groceries in, I will only do it in one take. That is all. So I'm going to need a strong grip for that. And research has shown positive correlation between grip strength and overall health. Now, ways to improve your grip strength, you can do this with farmer's carries, like holding 2 heavy dumbbells or kettlebells, hanging from a bar, stress balls, those like spongy balls. Spongy balls. That's what she said. But tons of different ways to do it. I personally need to add more grip strength in my life. I feel like we could all add a little bit more. I'm just doing this with my hands. I'm like, I wish I had the stress balls in my hand. That would be kind of weird if I was just doing this podcast as I'm squeezing the balls in your face. If you're watching this on YouTube, sorry. Wrist straps are an option if your grip strength can't quite keep up with your weight progression. And then in that case, you can use the wrist straps to support your grip off the bar. I have tons of videos on my Instagram at Tara La Ferrera and at the Tara Talk. Also, in the free PDF, I go over that as well. And when it comes to your lower body, there are a few details to note. When doing a solid deadlift, the bar is going to be so close to your shins that it may even scrape them. Like when I was first getting into sumo deadlifting, I still have scars on my shins from heavy sumo deadlifts where the bar scraped my shin so bad that I was literally bleeding. I know that's gross, but it happens. So maybe getting some high socks that protects your shins and also increase some blood flow to your legs. And then with that, you're also going to want your feet firmly planted on the ground beneath you. This is what helps generate the force needed to deadlift. And then because of this, I always recommend either deadlifting barefoot if you can, no slip socks, or with flat soled shoes like a Vans Vivo Barefoot. I personally use Adidas Continentals. And lastly, if you are using a lighter weight, make sure you're using bumper plates of the lower weight to have the bar starting at a proper height, which is around mid shin level. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's different sizes of plates at the gym. You see those 5 and 10, maybe even 25-pound plates that are the metal plates typically, and they're a little bit smaller. You want bumper plates because the diameter is big enough to where it starts at the perfect position of your shins. So typically bumper plates can be anywhere between 10, 25, 45, 35, 55 pounds. But if the gym does not have bumper plates, then you can always put benches or boxes on either side so that it's starting at the right height. Now that we have all the bases covered, let's talk about the 4 different variations. And we are first going to talk about the conventional deadlift. Again, just a quick little shout out. Make sure you download the totally free deadlift PDF in the show notes, and you can follow along all of this with me. And I also have video tutorials on all of them as well. Now, the conventional deadlift is a foundational exercise that offers a wide range of benefits, making it the staple in all strength training routines. This compound movement primarily targets the glutes, hamstrings, lower back, quadriceps, and also engaging secondary muscles like your lats, traps, and core. By working multiple muscle groups simultaneously, the deadlift helps provide full body strength and power, which can enhance athletic performance and improve functional fitness. And in addition to building muscle, the conventional deadlift promotes better posture, core stability, and overall body mechanics, which can help prevent injuries, especially in the lower back. And you heard me say that lower back is actually included in the muscles that we're working here, the erectors and the low back. The stronger we can get that trunk, the better you will feel in every other movement pattern. This exercise also triggers a strong hormonal response, promoting muscle growth and recovery. And incorporating deadlifts in your routine is just essential for anyone looking to improve their strength, stability, and overall physical conditioning. So I am going to walk you through step by step this specific exercise. Now, if it helps you, and hopefully you're not driving while listening to this, if you can or if you're walking, or just sit down, close your eyes, and see if you can visually see yourself getting into this deadlift position. All right. So we are going to set up our bar. Now, make sure you're using those standard size bumper plates so it's set up at the starting height. Remember, the standard size plate is about 20 kilograms or 45 pounds. Okay, here's the visualization. Ready? Walk up to the bar so that it is directly over the middle of your foot. Place your feet about hip-width distance apart and toes just slightly out. Bend over and grab the barbell. You are going to grab it just on the outsides of your shins, but keep the distance of the bar at the midline of your foot, about 1 inch from your shins. Once your hands are on the bar, drive your knees forward until your shins actually touch the barbell, putting your hips in the right position. Then you are going to flatten your back by thinking about sticking your butt out and belly down. I like to imagine that you have a flashlight in your butthole and you're trying to shine the light directly behind you. Now, keep your gaze on something about 10 to 12 feet in front of you the whole time. Push your knees out into your forearms. Take a big inhale, brace your core, lock in your lats with oranges, try to make orange juice, and drive the barbell directly up your legs in one fluid movement until you're standing straight up tall with your shoulders stacked over your hips and stacked over your heels. Exhale. Put the bar back down exactly the way you picked it up, down your legs and down to the floor. All right, that is our step-by-step for conventional deadlift. Now, again, I have these all broken down in video format as well. So let's go through the second variation. Second variation is a sumo deadlift. The sumo deadlift is actually my personal favorite deadlift. I have competed in powerlifting competitions with this exercise. It feels the best on my body because I can keep myself a little bit more upright. I also feel like I can lift a lot heavier, and I just feel really comfortable in it. And that's all that really matters, right? we find the variation that is best for you. Now, I still do all the other variations. This is just my personal favorite. Now, the sumo deadlift is a variation of the conventional deadlift that offers distinct benefits, particularly those looking to reduce the strain on the lower back while building overall strength. Now, the sumo stance are with feet wider apart, the hands are inside the knees, and you're shifting more of the load to your hips and glutes and inner thighs. This stance reduces the range of motion, making it easier on the lower back and allowing for better leverage, which can particularly be beneficial for lifters with limited hip or ankle mobility. Now, when the muscles worked in the sumo deadlift are your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads as your primary movers, with then the greater emphasis on the adductors, so your inner thighs, compared to the conventional deadlift. And of course, your core, your lats, your upper back are also working to stabilize this lift. And the sumo deadlift is a really great choice for building lower body strength while minimalizing stress on the spine and making it a really great option for those with lower back concerns or looking to just diversify their deadlift training. Sumo deadlifts are also really great for my long-limbed people. So anyone that is a little bit taller loves more of a sumo deadlift or a trap bar deadlift. You can also raise the plates to be a little bit higher to make it fit best for you. Remember, these are just variations. You can always work the variations into how it feels best in your body. Okay, so let's do another visualization for your sumo deadlifts. All right, here we go. So close your eyes. Set up your bar. Make sure you're using standard size plate so it's set up the right starting height. Remember, standard bar weight is 20 kg or 45 pounds, and then those plates as well. Walk up to the bar and set up a wide stance with toes pointing out. Put your shins in line with the outside rings and the bar at the middle of your foot. Typically on a barbell, there are 2 rings on the bar that I like to call the shiny parts. And I say that the easiest way to do this is to put your shins in line with the outside ring. So it's going to feel super wide. Now, drive your knees out as you come down to put your hands on the bar. The bar should now be touching your shins. Your toes are out, your knees are driving out, and your hands are gripping the bar underneath the shoulders with your palms facing you. Look straight forward and keep your chest upright. Think about being able for people to read whatever is on your shirt. So if you have a logo, a saying, or something, everyone should be able to read that for the entirety of the lift. Next, you'll pull slack out of the bar. You'll hear this with the bar hitting the top of the plates and actively feel the tension, what it feels like to produce tightness before physically moving the weights. So feeling that little click of the bar and really engaging your lats. It's the same kind of cue as your orange juice in your armpits, okay? Now, take a big inhale, brace your core, push your knees out as you're letting the bar touch you through the entirety of the pull, push the ground away from you as you stand tall, and exhale. Once the bar is past your knees, squeeze your glutes and stand tall. The shoulders are over your hips. Bring the bar back down the same way you picked it up, keeping your chest upright and eyes forward the whole time. Okay, conventional and sumo, let's hit the Romanian deadlift, otherwise known as the RDL. I'm sure you've seen this a lot. I was talking earlier about how you can do kettlebell or dumbbell RDLs. That is a really great option as well. Now, the Romanian deadlift is highly effective for developing posterior chain strength, focusing primarily on your hamstrings, your glutes, and again, your lower back. Unlike the conventional deadlift, the RDL emphasizes hip hinge movement with minimal knee bend, which targets the hamstrings and glutes a lot more directly than the conventional does. This makes it an excellent exercise for improving hamstring flexibility, hip mobility, and lower body strength. Now, the RDL is less taxing on the lower back and overall nervous system compared to traditional deadlifts, making it easier to recover from while still offering significant strength and muscle building benefits. An RDL is a compound lift. It can be your big peak movement, or it can also be flexible and more of an accessory move as well. Now the muscles worked. Again, you've got the hamstrings, the glutes, the erector spinae, and are the primary movers, with the core upper back engaged for stability and maintaining proper form. Incorporating RDL in your routine can enhance your deadlift performance, improve your posture, and prevent injuries by strengthening muscles that support your lower back and hips. And it is particularly beneficial for athletes and lifters looking to build explosive power, improve hamstring flexibility, and develop a strong and resilient posterior chain. This is a movement I have every runner do. This is a movement I love building the posterior chain with, personal preference. Gosh, I say sumo deadlift's my favorite, but I think I utilize RDLs more than any other deadlift for clients and for myself because it is so versatile and you can do so much with it. But the RDL starts from the top. The conventional trap bar sumo starts from the bottom. Okay, so you're going to either pick it up the exact same way as you would a conventional, or you can actually set up your bar so that the hooks on the bar actually are placed in the perfect position of your starting point. So you're actually just kind of picking it up and walking back instead of starting from the ground. Now let's do another visualization. I'm going to have you start from the ground, just if you didn't know how to set up the bar or the hooks on the rack, okay? But remember, you can put the hooks, you can use the safety bars and set it up basically right below your hips so that you can just kind of pull it off from there. Okay, here's our visualization. Remember, we're gonna start with our conventional just because we're gonna pretend like we're picking up from the ground, okay? Walk up to the bar so it's directly over the middle of your foot. Place your feet hip-width distance apart and toes slightly out. Bend over and grab the barbell. You're going to grab it just on the outside of your shins, but the shins of the bar are going to be at the midline of your foot, about 1 inch from your shins. Now, once your hands are on the bar, drive your knees forward until your shins actually touch the barbell, putting your hips in the right position. Then you're going to flatten your back by thinking about sticking your butt out and belly down. I like to imagine you have a flashlight in your butt and trying to shine the light directly behind you. Keep your gaze on something 10, 12 feet in front of you the whole time. Push your knees into your forearms. Take a big inhale, brace your core, and drive the barbell directly up your legs in one fluid movement until you're standing straight up tall with your shoulders stacked over your hips and heels. Exhale. Boom. This is the start of your RDL. Now, from this position here, pretend like you are breaking the bar in half to keep your lats engaged. These are all just different cues to keep your lats engaged, because the more your lats are engaged, the more control you'll have over the bar, the stronger you'll feel, the more weight you can put on the bar. So all these cues that I've given you, creating orange juice from oranges in your armpits, taking slack out of the bar, pretending like you're breaking the bar in half. These are all just different cues. So choose one that feels so good for you. Okay, so here's the start of our RDL. Brace your core, push your hips back while maintaining a flat back and control the eccentric phase. Eccentric is lowering. Your knees should have a soft bend, but a bit more straight with the hinge forward. Stop just below your knees or slightly further, depending your hamstring flexibility. Keep a super strong back and core the whole time and keep your weight through your heels while simultaneously driving through your toes to stand tall. Now, at the top of the movement, contract the upper back, core, and glutes by flexing from the middle of the back to the glutes. As you reach full extension of the hips, flex the glutes and keep your ribcage down to stabilize the lumbar spine. Okay, this is a jam-packed episode. We have one more to go through. The last variation I'm going to share with you today is the trap bar deadlift. The trap bar deadlift is also known as the hex bar deadlift. It offers a unique blend of benefits that make it versatile and joint-friendly alternative to the conventional deadlift. A trap bar deadlift looks like a hexagon where you would actually step into it and then put the plates on either side. Now, the trap bar's design allows you to stand inside the bar, which shifts the weight closer to your center of gravity. This reduces the strain on the lower back and minimizes the risk of injury, making it an excellent option for both beginners and those with any back issues. Additionally, the trap bar deadlift is more forgiving on the joints, particularly the knees and hips, due to a neutral grip and more upright torso position. In terms of muscles worked, the trap bar deadlift targets the glutes, the hamstrings, and the quads as your primary movers, with a significant emphasis on the quads compared to conventional deadlift because the angle of your hips is slightly lower than your conventional. This exercise also engages the core, traps, upper back muscles for stability and control. And the trap bar deadlift is an effective way to build overall strength, power, and muscle mass while reducing the risk of injury, making it a great choice for lifters of all levels looking to improve their performance and protect their joints. The trap bar is the most beginner-friendly exercise, but as someone that's been lifting for nearly 20 years, I still utilize it all the time, even myself and my clients. Okay, visualization time. Let's visualize what it looks like to get into a trap bar deadlift. Now, first we set up our bar. Make sure you're using standard size bumper plates so it's set up at the right starting height. Step into the bar. Place your feet about hip width distance apart and toes just slightly out. Send your butt back and knees forward as you bring your hands down to the handles to pick up the bar outside your legs. Now, this is the only grip where your hands are outside of your legs, neutral. So if we were to compare this to a farmer's carry, it's very similar. Or if you're holding two suitcases or two grocery bags, super easy to look at it that way, right? Once your hands are on the bar, lock your lats into place by putting them. Here's another cue if you want to try this, by putting your lats in your back pocket of your jeans. Next up, keep your gaze on something about 10 to 12 feet in front of you the whole time. Take a big inhale, brace your core, and push the ground away in one fluid movement until you're standing straight up tall with your shoulders stacked over your hips and stacked over your heels. And exhale. Put the bar back down exactly the way you picked it up. I know that was beefy. I know it was a lot, but deadlifts are so fucking great. And I just want you to feel so great doing them as well. I hope this helped, but you know what would help you even more is if you download the free deadlift guide in the show notes. I promise I'll go through all of this stuff with you. There's full video tutorial breakdowns. I honestly just want to empower and inspire every woman to get into the gym, lift heavy shit, pick up the weights, and feel freaking confident and strong. And that is what I'm doing with my new app. You guys, we're about 2 months away from this launch of an app that I've been working on this entire year. My team has been so incredible, and I'm super, super excited to share it with you. This month, we are actually going to get into some beta testing for the app. So I'm bringing in some testers, and we are so close to sharing more of the name and the brand story and why we're doing what we're doing, and how I just have this feeling that it's just going to get women feeling so fucking strong and ready to take up space. So I think that's everything for now. I promise that once you find your form and your technique with deadlifts, it's so fun. It makes you feel like such a badass with a good ass, obviously. But truly, deadlifts are really, really great for the glutes. So please do them too. And it's just such an incredible exercise. And once you actually get that form down, I promise it is so worth it. Okay. Please share this episode out if you liked it, tag a friend, share, subscribe, all of the things. That is how I can keep this podcast alive and going. It's all free content from me to you. Make sure you download in the show notes How to Deadlift Guide. Tag us on Instagram at Tara LaFerrara and at The Tara Talk. Your reviews are so, so, so important. So if you could just take a couple minutes and rate and review this podcast, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or if you're watching on YouTube, it just would mean the world to me. Thank you so much. And now go lift some heavy shit.